Hey everyone, welcome to Not Your Average Sports Chick. Thank you for joining us again for our second edition of our video blog. Today we're going to be talking about our recap of the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if you saw our episode last week. We were super excited to get with you and really just talk football. My pick was Carolina Panthers 17-7. Josh's pick was
17-10 Denver.
So obviously I was wrong.
I was very close in the third quarter, 16-10. I was like, ooh, I was texting you, I think, going, hey, I think I might have a winner here. But then C.J. Anderson
ran
that in, as you all know.
Yeah, so he didn't win the exact score. But anyhow, we were pretty much right on the discussion of how it was going to be a defensive game. And we were also right on the fact that turnovers were going to control the game. When Denver doesn't turn over the ball, they win the game as much. And if you look at the turnovers, the Panthers turned over the ball 4 times, where Denver only did it twice. So therefore
2 strip sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, all
over. So
much
pressure on Newton. Such a sloppy game. Essentially, I mean, bad throws left and right. It was just Von Miller had his number. 7 sacks, tied a Super Bowl record. Von Miller himself didn't have 7 sacks. He had 2. For the team, they had 7 sacks against Carolina Panthers, which is insane.
I don't even know if that's like I was trying to look at some stuff, but I don't know if you were able to pull it up. Like, how many has that ever happened? Like 7 sacks, like altogether, that much getting back to a quarterback, and that a Super Bowl.
Tied
like,
a Super Bowl.
Tied. Yeah, that's what it was.
It's a different stage too when you're in the Super Bowl. You know, certain players are going to step up, certain players aren't. If you looked at the Carolina Panthers, they had a sloppy game. Cam Newton overthrew the ball many times, a lot of bad throws, a lot of drops. You can't win a game that way. We talked about last week that the Denver Broncos always win games when they control turnovers, when they're getting less turnovers than their opponent. And in last week's Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 50, Carolina Panthers had 4 turnovers to Denver Broncos 2. So essentially that tells you, that's the answer to the question right there. That tells you why the Denver Broncos won the game. Peyton Manning didn't really have to do much. The Broncos' defense took care of it.
Defense wins championships, man.
Absolutely.
He did have a couple deep balls, but they weren't like anything like what he used to. But
no, of course not.
He limped into that one, and he got himself a ring, and congrats, Peyton.
Solidified his legacy.
Yeah.
Last ring was 9 years ago with the Colts. So it's great to see him get another ring.
Would you leave? Would you go out on top? Or would you try to stick around and come to L.A. for Rams 1 year?
That's interesting. I mean, I'm sure that Peyton Manning will consider it. But if I were him, which I'm not, and I've never played in the NFL, I would probably go out on
Let's
top.
say, and I'm just going to throw it out there and we'll wrap it up. He comes to LA, plays a year, gets the playoffs, loses. Does that tarnish his record? He still got the ring.
No,
it doesn't make
think
him a loser, right? So why not?
Well, I guess it depends what kind of year he has also.
True. Oh, so it was a boring Super Bowl. It was this and that. It was like, if it wasn't for the first strip sack and the touchdown, they didn't have much to go. I mean, I'm curious to know what...
Well, a lot of people say it was boring because they were expecting the Panthers to rout Denver, essentially. But I think with it going the opposite angle and it not being a high-scoring game, many people think a defensive game is more boring than a high-scoring game. People like to see touchdowns. People like to see big, dramatic scores. So, and that didn't bring it to the table.
People's preconceived ideas of what they thought would be going into the game, they were let down because of the way that... that's why they call it sports. That's why they call it a game. You win some, you lose some. I mean, the whole season for Carolina...
It's very similar to baseball, where people want to see home runs. They want to see gigantic games where people are just smashing the ball out of the ballpark. But for somebody who's a baseball fan, someone who knows the game, I would rather see a defensive game or a pitching duel. I'd rather see 2 dominant pitchers striking out the side, left and right, and having 20 strikeouts in a game rather than see a home run derby. That to me just gets a little tedious and a little boring. So essentially, for me, the Super Bowl was exciting. For other people, not so much. I liked seeing Denver win. I liked seeing Peyton Manning get his 2nd ring. It was 9 years ago. He got his ring with the Indianapolis Colts. So, and it's really solidifying his legacy. And a lot of people felt like he had to. I mean, he's had a really rough year coming back from neck surgery. And
I mean, what a way to actually... what a crazy fairy tale year for him. Being sidelined, getting the most passing. What was the record he had? And then he threw all those interceptions when Brock Osweiler came in. He had like 4... More
interceptions than touchdowns.
But then he actually, in that game, he had become the all-time leading passer or something like that.
Yes.
So what just a crazy road for him to actually get to the Super Bowl this year.
Very
and
emotional.
being benched and then have Brock Osweiler come in and do all that stuff for him. And then him to come in and play those last games and win like that. Hey, you got to go out. You got to go out. You got to go out on top, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
like, you're not going to have another year like that. If just how barely he eked in there and got that. It's like, I don't think you can go back and
it was
duplicate
pretty
that.
amazing. And then transitioning over, staying on the football subject, we're going to talk a little bit of Johnny Manziel. Again, unless you've been living under a rock, you have to know what's going on with him. Disastrous year with the Cleveland Browns. Now there's reports coming out that the Browns lied and said that he had concussion when in reality he showed up to practice hungover. Mm-hmm. Spent a rehab once already. Multiple altercations with his girlfriend Colleen Crowley. This past week, another altercation where she had claimed that he threatened to kill her and kill himself. There's really not much to say except for the fact that this kid's a disaster. His family's super worried about him. His father and his grandfather have come out and spoken. His father thinks that he's about to kill himself if he doesn't get help. Multiple athletes have come forward and offered to help him. Brandon Marshall being one, Super Bowl MVP Von Miller being another. It's a really sad story. Addiction is a sad thing if he is suffering from addiction, or there's another option also. He could just be a spoiled brat that's entitled and
I think it's a combination of both. I got to be honest with you. I mean, this guy's got the world in his hands, and he's pissing away a golden opportunity. And no pun intended, but I just think I think he's a spoiled brat. I'm sorry, Johnny, if you're listening or watching. I'm probably not, but I mean, come on, dude. You've got the world at your hands, and you're just gonna throw it away. I don't know. Addiction is real, and I am not trying to discredit that at all. But I mean, you've got all the resources you need to take care of your stuff, and you've got all these millions of dollars you could be making, and in this opportunity that 0.1% of America gets, and it's like, come on, buddy.
And he's pissing it away, essentially.
Come on.
Texas A&M quarterback Kyle Allen came out recently also and said that he blames Johnny Manziel on the culture of Texas A&M football. The culture where we can party all week and do whatever we want and get away with it, and then come in on Saturday and play the game, and that's fine. That doesn't work. And that's essentially what Johnny Manziel transitioned over into the Cleveland Browns, over into the NFL. Mm-hmm. He thought, I can just party, do whatever I want, live on my terms, and then go in and play the game, and then all is forgiven. That's not how it works. It's a big boy time. It's a big boy game. You're not in college anymore. Can't do whatever you want. You don't have your family sitting there taking care of stuff and hiding things just in case you mess up. It's the NFL. And all eyes are on you.
He's a Heisman Trophy winner. You've got this responsibility, this character thing that I think the NFL lacks on. I don't know,
more
teaching
recently,
or
last
showing,
couple of years.
And it's just been these people pumping them out. I think they pump players out of college too fast, and they pump them in the spotlight too fast, and they're too young, and they can't handle the pressure, and they crack, and it's sad. It needs to be more of a foregoing process, I think, for them to kind of go through. I mean, that's a great example. Look at that guy, class act. He's not somebody who's going to be, yeah. Take that example, guys. Take that example.
Some players can handle it, depending on the individual. Some players can get drafted directly out of college and start and handle the pressure. Many cannot. And it also, if you're a great college quarterback, does not mean that you can transition over into the NFL and be a great NFL quarterback. They're two different games. Addiction
is real. Get some help, man, because you know what? People love watching you play. You've got opportunity in front of you. We hope the best. I mean, what about the Heisman Trophy we wanted to talk about today, Mr. Cam Newton?
That would definitely be my rant of the week. And if you didn't see Cam Newton's post-game press conference, then again you were living under a rock, which seems to be my theme right now. Everybody's
bunch of rocks.
Tons of rocks everywhere. He handled it with less grace and less dignity than expected. Cam Newton has become a very divisive figure in sports. Most people like him. Some people don't like him. They don't like his arrogance. They think he smiles too much, celebrates too much, whatever the case may be. I think he's got an amazing personality and a lot of passion and enjoys playing the game. However, in Super Bowl 50, he did not enjoy playing the game at all. It was evident from the coin toss, the first second he got off on the field, he did not look like himself. I'm not sure if emotion took over or the pressure of the Super Bowl, but all this was evident when he didn't go after the fumble, the infamous fumble in the fourth quarter that he should have gone after to recover.
He went for it and stopped. I don't understand. I don't understand what happened there.
Essentially, a lot of people say gave up on his team. Then he leaves the press conference and blows off the reporters, which
There's a
Sports
lot of
don't want you to do
different
that.
things circulating with social media saying there was another press conference going on behind him, and he had stopped for a minute and heard something, and he got upset about that. There was a question asked by the reporters on Cam's side, so I guess they had back-to-back, press conferences going, and like he got a little upset about a question about him being sacked so much, and that was one thing. Either way, you have a responsibility.
Responsibility to
win
fans.
like a man, lose like a man. We you can't just come out and pout like that, because I think he's got a big hole to dig himself out of now, coming back in the next year.
He didn't have many apologies for what he did. He said he didn't want to conform, and he said he was feeling all those emotions, which is understandable. None of us will know what he was feeling. We're not playing in the NFL. We're not losing a Super Bowl. I can't imagine what he was feeling. You have an obligation as a player to your fans and to the league and to the reporters to at least just be able to hold your own in the interview and just answer the questions they need. Then go off and do what you have to do to release those emotions. He may not think he has that obligation, but hopefully with years and maturity and the next time he ends up in the Super Bowl, things will change and he will show what a mature young man he is, because he's a fantastic athlete and he will be back. There's no doubt in my mind he'll be back in the Super Bowl.
I don't doubt that one bit. They'll restructure the team. They'll get some more wide receivers for him. They'll do some better things. I think they got to tighten up that O-line a little bit or something. And I think they'll be back. And I hate that they're in my conference because we'll be battling them again. But
Well, football's over. We're heading into the NBA All-Star break.
It's over.
Heading into the NBA All-Star break.
Love
Today
it.
is the
Love
last
it.
slate of games. All-Star games on Sunday, first time in Toronto. And we have a team, Golden State Warriors, who have the best record in the history of the NBA heading into the All-Star break at 48-4.
Oh my goodness! Say it again.
Beyond impressive, 48-4.
Ah.
Ridiculous. Stephon Curry,
Halfway through the season, if not more, and you've lost 4 games.
It's insane. It's insane.
He is redefining the game of basketball in the way that he is shooting. He's exciting to watch. I'm excited to watch. I'm more excited to watch the All-Star game
than ever before.
than I have been in a long time. And I love the fact that the basketball All-Star game, I mean, I have always looked forward to it. I think it's more exciting than the football All-Star.
No,
I mean, I
100%.
think a lot of America will agree with that. But I mean, I look forward to this. I really do. It's one of my favorite things.
Well, think about it. You have a 3-point contest with Stephon Curry, Kyle Lowry, Chris Bosh, JJ Redick, Devin Booker. I mean, this is an all-star lineup right now. Chris Middleton, who's having a fantastic year for the
Kyle
Bucks.
Lowry, yeah.
Kyle Lowry, it's going to be in his home team, hometown, not necessarily where he plays basketball. So who knows? He might end up taking over.
Yeah, he's a hometown crowd.
JJ Redick, he has been phenomenal for the Clippers with Blake Griffin out. He hits everything. He's unstoppable. I'm not sure if you saw the Celtics Clipper game last night and the overtime win by the Celtics, but it was pretty insane.
He hits everything. You're talking about JJ, not Blake, right?
JJ. Yeah, Blake hits everything too. But.
Sorry, had to throw that in there. I'm excited to see this game a lot. What are you doing for the game? Where are you going to be at?
I'm not sure yet. I will be watching. I'm excited for the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
But we're going to end this note on thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We have a huge interview coming up with one of the top NFL agents in the history of the game. You don't want to miss this.
It's going to be great.
You want to catch up with us next week. I will have some fantasy picks for you. Unfortunately, there's nothing to play this week, so we're out with that. Check me out on Twitter, NotYourAverageSportsChick.com, and Instagram, NotYourAverageSportsChick. Thank you.